Representative Sinema, do you have a joke for us?
Mr. Speaker, no, I rise to my vote. I do not have a joke. I actually have some very serious problems with this legislation.
Please
Although
proceed.
I would like to note that the jokes, I think, are appropriate to this bill because the bill's ridiculous. This bill, in its amendment in Cow, made some corrections, but not nearly enough to solve the very serious problems that exist with this legislation. For instance, in committee, there was a removal of the Class 6 felony for any non-therapeutic research that results in the destruction of a human embryo, which of course is often the purpose of research, involves the eventual destruction of the embryo. That's what we call science. This bill changed that, takes away the Class 6 felony for the non-therapeutic research that results in the destruction or injury of an embryo, but it replaces that with a ban on destructive human embryonic stem cell research. And as we heard earlier today in Cow, some people seem to believe that research on embryonic stem cells is not needed, that all the research that needs to happen in this country and in this world can happen with adult stem cells. Well, I took a look at some of the sources that were cited during the Cow debate, and those sources were junk science. They were not credible scientific sources whatsoever. The facts are very clear that embryonic stem cell research is an important and integral part of medical research in this country and is used on a regular basis to seek cures to things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, juvenile diabetes, spina bifida, and other diseases. There are a number of medical research facilities around the country that could not operate without this ability. Harvard is one perfect example. By passing this legislation, we are saying to medical research facilities and corporations throughout this country, don't come to Arizona, we're not interested in science. Don't invest here with your high-tech, high-wage jobs because we're not interested in really getting serious about science and medical research. Instead, some of my colleagues have said we can just rely on adult stem cell research. Well, the fact is very simple. If we rely solely on adult stem cell research, then we will never have the ability to make these scientific advancements that come with the benefits of using embryonic stem cell research. This bill will prohibit us from continuing to advance as a beacon for scientific research in this country. And finally, Mr. Speaker and members, to refer to the ban on human-animal hybrid embryos, I think it's important to note that there have been zero attempts in Arizona to create a human-animal hybrid. Zero. No one has talked about it. No one has attempted it because it's ridiculous. It's crazy. No one wants to do it. No one's thinking about doing it. And while we hear a lot of jokes about it, the fact is very simple. This is just another piece of legislation that is piled on top of the last several weeks and several months of legislation that makes Arizona look like a ridiculous joke in our country. Human-animal hybrids are not real. There is no attempt to do them. And passing legislation to prevent them solely makes us look even more crazy than we have looked over the last 2 weeks. Mr. Speaker and member, I would respectfully request that we sine die as soon as possible so we stop looking like a complete and total laughingstock in this nation. Mr. Speaker, I vote no.